and say what they want to do. I may be wrong, but it does seem to me that voting is one big responsibility. As a voter, you must follow news carefully. You should read, watch, and listen, and then try to see what the candidates, if elected, plan to do. What are their beliefs? Do they ring true for you? So voters have to do some homework, right? And here we have one doing homework on the internet. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Debates are held for the people to see the candidates talk on live TV. Moderators on hand have questions to ask. To give their best answer is the candidate's task. So here's a national debate stage. Here are the moderators who ask the questions. Here are the candidates. A debate is an argument that's meant to sway. It is run by rules in a most formal way. It's one way you can learn about the candidates. At meetings called rallies, supporters get out to cheer the candidate they care most about. Supporters on the phone or going door to door say, vote for my party on election day. They raise lots of money, collect change in jars, more than change, and sell campaign stickers to stick on cars. So this is a campaign. Phone calls, knocking on doors, and trying to convince people, vote for me.
Why?
Because you have to reach the voters, people who decide. You have to ask them for their vote, and then you have to give them reasons why they should vote for you. So a candidate who cares about democracy does all these things. They want to get your support, and you have to ask for the support. You can't assume it. George Washington won the vote, so I've been told, during a winter that was snowy and cold. In 1845, Congress passed a vote to say there would be an earlier election day, November. The day each year is easy to remember. It's the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. This date was chosen for a very good reason. It came at the end of the harvesting season. So they moved the elections a little bit early in the year, so it doesn't get in the way of winter. I'm sorry? We'll get to questions at the end. When election day comes, the voter's big role is to make sure to vote at their assigned poll. A poll is where you vote. As a general rule. It is a public place, like a firehouse or school. If you're out of town, there's a chance that you might mail an absentee ballot. Voting is your right. So you just can't go anywhere to vote. A long time in order to vote. And sometimes you may be in the hospital or away on vacation. But then you can get an absentee ballot if you request it in advance of the election. So these two apparently went to Paris, right, which is not in America. So they applied for an absentee ballot. And they voted before they left. They mailed it in, and it's not opened and counted until election day. People cast their votes by different means. Ballots fed into computers or direct voting machines. However you vote, it's important you see that voters are given complete privacy. A curtain or screen protects voters from view. This ensures that your vote is known only to you. So your vote is your personal vote. No one should know how you voted unless you share that information. The polls close up at the end of the day. Here come the counters. Please clear the way. By special computer, poll results are scanned, but some votes are still counted out by hand. The results are sent to the Board of Elections, which declares the winner after careful inspections. So then we're counting the votes at the end of the day. In New Jersey, the machines are electronic. So the back of the machine at the end of the day, when it's officially closed, there's a printout with the total results of that machine. And then the results of all the machines go to town hall, and the clerk has to count all the machine results to have one total for the whole town. So it could be a long process after the polls close. The loser admits their bitter defeat. The winner announces their victory sweet. The winner vows to serve everyone in the land, not just the supporters who lent them a hand. If all of this rings true, it is my dearest hope that, it continues in the next, you have over 500 municipalities in the state of New Jersey, and most do not have term limits. For president, as you know, there's a term limit, 2 terms. President Barack Obama was limited to two terms, 8 years. But for many mayors, there is no limit on terms, so you can serve as long as the voters re-elect you. Now to answer your question, James, if something happens to you in office, if you pass away suddenly, like it came up in this book, or you resign, then there is a process to elect a new mayor. It's called a special election, and it goes to the voters to choose. There isn't a vice mayor like vice president who assumes that office, so there would be a special election, that's called.
How do you resign?
You resign by sending a letter. And for a mayor, you resign by sending a letter to the clerk saying, I resign, and you state the date or that you will resign on. If you're president, you send it to the Attorney General. That last happened with President Richard Nixon. It was a 2-sentence letter that announced he was resigning effective immediately.
My name is Aiden. My question
Aiden, speak up a little bit, Aiden.
My name is Aiden. My question is, when you're mayor, how long do you be? How long are you mayor until you get elected?
When you're mayor, you're elected for a term of office. In Kearney, the term of office is for 4 years. Some towns have 2 years, some towns have 3 years. Kearney has 4 years.
Do we remember how long Mayor Santos has been mayor?
4 years. 4 years. 16 years. 4 years.